much agree with everybody else here. I do think you, the voters, need a voice in what goes on before the vote. Why not have a 30-minute session before town council start at 6:30 to 7, public comment. Give you, the voters, what's coming up that night. Let you know what's coming up and let you give an opinion. Give your opinion before the vote. Your opinion is no good after the vote. I agree with Mr. Curry. Once a month, once every 2 months, have a meet the council day, or like on a Saturday afternoon or something. You know, just like this right here, Saturday afternoon. Come to the council, voice your opinions, voice your concerns, and sit here and discuss it face to face.
I have to agree with everybody else. I have brought this up several times at council meetings, that I feel that we need to have some input back to the audience. And it's not a one-way street. It's a two-way street. I need feedback from the citizens in order to make a good decision. And if I'm not getting feedback, if I'm not able to answer somebody during the meeting, that's not doing me any good, and that's not doing y'all any good. And I feel that there's a way that we can work this out where we can have that two-way street. And I'm all for it. Thank you.
We'll start the next question with Mr. Jackson. And I'd like to remind the candidates to please address the audience. I'm only reading the questions, I'm not asking. Don't shoot the messenger. This is for all candidates, and we'll start with Mr. Jackson. Should town council members be elected by district so all are represented, and should there be term limits?
Well, I feel that there should be term limits. I don't know what it should be, 8 years or 2 terms, but I think that would be appropriate. As far as representation, I think that the town council represents the citizens of the Weaverville, and I would be in favor of the council being represented by that to the largest degree, but I would like to get input from the citizens and also from those in the ETJ as to, similar to other boards we have, where we have members that are not in the residential community. So I would like to have some discussion on that as far as what percentage or what portion of that should we do, and how would the people feel about it?
Mr. Hanson?
Yes, ma'am. I do believe that there should be term limits, and that should be set by you, the public, on how long you want us to sit up here. And as far as districts, and I'm not that familiar, but I know that if I lived in the ETJ, I would definitely like to be able to vote on things policies that are being made that would affect me and my future in this community, rather than not having a vote. And so I think that's very, very important, rather than representation, or basically taxation without representation. You may not be taxed if you're in the ETJ, but you're definitely being affected by what's decided here in this town hall. And I think you should have a voice, and you should be able to speak up and make your opinions heard and felt in this community.
Mr. English?
And I agree with everyone else. I do believe there should be term limits. We respect the idea that I think we should have people from different areas of the communities. And so it's good to have people that live in the north, the south, the east, and the west. There are different views that come from those areas. Not all communities are the same. Some are more populated than others. So I think it's good to have people that come from different areas of the town. Even though it is a small town, there are still different areas. And so I'm glad that we now have some people that are from different areas. We're not all from the same street, so I do believe that is good. And as far as the term limits go, I agree with Mr. Jackson. I'm not sure what those should be, but I do believe we ought to have those in place.
Mr. Curry?
I do not support the idea of dividing council into representation by districts. We're a small community. We're small enough to function as a community of friends and neighbors. I believe that dividing this town into districts will create an us and them type of mentality, some of which already exist. I believe that creating districts makes the council members feel the need to compete with other council members for the best benefits for their district, rather than looking at what is best for the community as a whole. Term limits are a different issue. I think I generally support the idea of term limits, although I have seen too many instances where very qualified and experienced people are lost by blind following term limitations. I would have to think about that.
Mrs. Kelly?
I agree completely with Walt on the district issue. I think it would divide us instead of unite us. I've heard a little bit of that us and them mentality, where, you know, the golf course versus town. We don't need that. We need to work together. As Walt said, we're all part of the same community, no matter where we live. I do believe, though, I've researched this, and Weaverville is one of the only communities in our area that has a 4-year term and no limit. And I think a 4-year term deters people from running. I think if we had a 2 or a 3-year term, more people would consider running for office. And a 2-term limit would be a good amount of time. I also believe that we should consider a term limit on our appointed individuals who represent us on our Planning and Zoning Board and our Zoning Board of Adjustments. Those folks do have a term, but they often just get reappointed. I think we could use some more oversight on that and a term limit on that as well. I think, as I said, that this would just encourage more people, and then we would continue to always have a council that was more reflective and representative of our current population.
I think term limits are good, depending on what the terms are. I think 4 years is really, in itself, quite a long term. Some of us here at the age where the term would be determined. We have all our pleasures of mind to do a good job. And also, there's young fellows that say, hey, I'm young, how about letting us have a voice? And I think that's good, because they have kids or schools. There's many things going on. I think if I had a strong say in it, I would probably go for 2 to 3 year term with a limit of just 2, either 2 or 3 year terms, just to keep everything alive. And because other people are coming in here, fresh blood has been good for this community, and I think we have more upside than downside by considering that. And as far as the districts go, I agree very much with Walter and with Nell.